I'm excited for this one. Had a chance to meet Dan in Austin, Texas at the American Liberty Awards. We had a really good time out there. He's the host of Border Hawk News and InfoWars International. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Lyman. Dan, what's going on? Good to see you again, man.
Hey, man, great to be with you. Thank you very much for the invitation. And it was definitely a pleasure to hang out for a couple of days there in Austin for the Liberty Awards and just the gathering.
I mean, I lived in Austin for about 6 months in 2009. I forgot how much I liked it. I mean, it's changed, obviously. All these big cities have changed, but it's nice to get out there and it's nice to be surrounded by like-minded people that see the world the way you see it, with their eyeballs open and things like that. It was great to me. Oh, by the way, I wore, in honor of you, I wore my It's All Happening sweatshirt for Alex. If anyone likes that, you can go to the merch store, link in the description. It's boy, I'll tell you what, Alex has said two things that were spot on. It's an information war, and it's all happening because, boy, I'll tell you, these days it's all happening. And you do a lot of work covering everything really, but the border in particular. Let's start there. I mean, I remember thinking that we had an actual border that we like to enforce, and we even have an agency called Border Patrol. Now we have doors that are welded open so that people can come in easier. It feels like this is being made to happen. I see a lot of trilateral commission guys in the Biden administration, Jake Sullivan, Susan Rice, and what's his name? Anthony Blinken. These guys are these are trilaterals that put their membership on ice to rotate into the Biden administration. The Trilateral Commission wants to do away with borders. They want to open everything up. What are you guys seeing about where this is headed with the border situation? Because it does not appear to be slowing down at all. In fact, I just saw the train video of all the people in the trains and coming up from Mexico. It looks like they're on their way. And I don't think this is a viable option for much longer. What's your take on where we're going?
No, we're watching the full collapse of the United States, starting with the border states, starting with Texas, really. Speaking on the Austin situation, I used to go to Austin every year and play South by Southwest years ago and saw Austin from that perspective. And, maybe as like a kind of a band dude, you're not really analyzing like the demographic changes of Austin. And it wasn't the same at that time. But over the years, my reasons to visit Austin have changed. And Austin itself has changed. And so my last visit there, like you said, it's still a great city in many ways. It's one of these really unique places where you're surrounded by psycho libs, but you're also surrounded by like-minded people, which there aren't too many places like that in the United States. Like any urban center, for the most part, is just, dominated by psycho libs for the most part. But Austin is kind of a unique place still. But, that is changing. And one of the ways that it's changing is just the influx of illegal aliens flooding into that city, but also into Texas as a whole. And so, I was living for a long time over in Europe for about 6 years before returning to the States last year, and had to make a decision about where to live because they didn't have anywhere in particular to be. And the first obvious choice would be to go start working from HQ in Austin. And, I debated it, and I just saw what was going on at the border. Saw what was going on in Austin, just the other issues there, the drugs, the homelessness, the overcrowding. And I said, you know what? Texas is on a really bad path right now. And, one of the major reasons for that is because it lies on the border. And so you just have millions of legal aliens coming into the state. People, we don't know who they are, where they came from. We have a pretty good idea that a lot of them are criminals. They're all criminals by coming in illegally, but a lot of them are hardened criminals coming out of the prisons in Central and South America, for instance, or on the run, as we saw recently with the situation in Pennsylvania. We had a Brazilian murder suspect on the loose in Pennsylvania for nearly 2 weeks. It took hundreds of law enforcement officers, and ultimately it was a Border Patrol BORTAC team that finally, tracked him down. That's just one guy, running around in Pennsylvania. Just imagine what's going on in Texas right now. So I deem that not the place to live, but certainly a place to continue visiting, as we did, last month for the awards. And it was a great time, great hanging out with everybody there. And now, speaking to the situation at the border itself and the trains, incredible, incredible stuff. So the train thing has been happening for a long time. La Bestia is well known, this train that travels from the south of Mexico to the north, all the way to the border, and illegal aliens have been riding on and around that train for many years. But now things are really coming to a head. And we have a reporter based in Mexico, Efrain Gonzalez. He just released a report literally hours before this whole train thing really hit. And he's in Piedras Negras, which is right across from Eagle Pass, which really is like the hotspot on the border, as we saw earlier this week. More than 2,200 illegal aliens crossed into Eagle Pass from Piedras Negras in the span of hours. It was, according to Bill Malugin, the largest crossing he's ever seen at the border. And that's saying a lot because, of course, Bill has spent a couple of years now reporting from the border for Fox News. And so, things are just totally catastrophic there. We've seen what's going on in Lampedusa in Italy, over the past week or so. And I'm sure we'll get into that later. But, contrast that with what's going on at the southern border. We get a Lampedusa every single day at the border. It's just unbelievable. So we are now approaching 10,000 apprehensions per day at the border. We had over 9,000 a couple days ago. And those are historically, right at the top, right at the worst. And these are just the apprehensions. This has nothing to do with known gotaways and unknown gotaways, the people that are slipping into the country totally undetected. And
thanks for watching that clip. If you want to hear the entire episode in audio format, just go wherever podcasts are served, search for Macroaggressions, subscribe to the show, and please rate it when you get a chance. Thanks, everybody.